by Dr. Razik, or I'm not sure, I can't remember the course outline, right? Tapi you will be learning on a very great details in about the micropropagation or tissue culture dalam kelas tissue culture lah, right? Semi ambil tissue culture ke belum ambil ni?
Last time ambil tissue culture.
Oh, last time ambil, okay, okay, tu memang dah okay lah tu. So maknanya sangat berpengetahuan lah sebab one sem ambil that specific course, okay, tissue culture. So cutting, what is that? In botany, a plant section originating from a stem, leaf, or roots and capable of developing into a new plants. Okay, any segments from the living parents, okay, ataupun kita panggil biasanya stalk. Okay, from the stalk ataupun parents, kita akan do the cuttings. Adalah kriteria dia, which cuttings that are suitable, and that still depends on the species. Okay, ada on what size, ada size ke, the characteristic, other characteristics, okay, about the cuttings. You not just simply cut the any stems and then you just put into soils and then let them grow. Probably it works, but it's better to do that with knowledge, right? At least it's like macam I'm not sure whether I have said this before. Kalau you jumpa seorang yang very experienced petani, for example rambut tepar penuh orang getah, okay, you try to tell them a new knowledge. Okay, pakcik sepatutnya you tak buat macam ni, pakcik sepatutnya you buat macam ni, right? To be honest, how to tackle that situation is simple. Macam pakcik cakap kan, dia normally farmers ni ada yang ego, right? Dia kata I've been doing this for 20 years, so who are you to tell me this, right? Tapi kalau biasanya saya tak, I have not crossed any single person like that lah. Kalau saya selalu je bagi tahu yang it's better to have them with knowledge, right? To do that with knowledge. So instead of wasting time of 20 years, right? 20 years, mungkin through knowledge, mungkin it can be shortened to 10 years or 5 years. So dia boleh jimat dia 15 tahun ataupun 10 years with a good knowledge, right? So same goes with how to choose cuttings, right? Rather than just simply taking any part of the plants from the parent plant, it's better to have to prepare yourself with knowledge so that you're not wasting time. Okay. The cutting is usually placed in warm, moist sand. Okay. Many plants, especially horticulture and gardens varieties, are propagated through cuttings. By the use of new techniques, many of the plants formerly not susceptible to propagation through cuttings have more successfully reproduced. Right. So other science or knowledge develop every day, every seconds. So that ada yang pokokan most probably not suitable to be propagated through cuttings last times, through modern techniques or new techniques. Okay, many other plants are now suitable to propagate them through cuttings. Right, the plants that develop from cuttings are clones. Okay, one of the problematic with clones ni, kalau the stock plants parents tu dah ada penyakit, right? So all the stems, right, yang you cut tu, then you try to propagate them, semua akan ada bawa penyakit lah, right? The same goes to the micropropagation, right? So kalau ada satu pokok yang susceptible to penyakit, pokok lain semua susceptible to penyakit juga. Compare to kalau tanam ikut seed, right? Ikut seed mungkin ada genetically because from seeds, okay, dia can, I think saya dah pernah cerita pasal durian kot, right? Berbanding clones, clone akan bawa 100% the genetic heredity from parents. Kalau through the seed, takut ada changes of, means how the seeds ataupun new seedling adapt to the environment. Mungkin changes of the DNA will not be simply modified, the DNA, okay. The code, the actual code of ataupun the genetic code will not simply be changed, tapi the matter of which gene need to be expressed so that they can suit to the new environments, itu yang akan mengubah dia. Mungkin daun dia kecil sikit, mungkin daun dia akan besar sikit, right? Dia punya code, genetic code mesti sama, right? Cuma nak bagi tahu, kalau you tanam pakai seed, mungkin resistance dia lagi tinggi, right? Because of tadilah genetic code. Rather than kalau clone, you dah determine dah. You have to follow, it has to follow the new shoot that you just inserted. Okay, dalam teknik, teknik apa? Lupa ni. Allahu Akbar. Dia tiba-tiba lost. Cantuman mata tunas. Okay. So that all, itu pun clone juga. Okay. Type of cuttings. Kalau stem biasanya ada dikenali ada got 3 types of stems: hardwoods, semi-hardwoods ataupun softwoods. Okay. The choice of the stems depends on the plant itself. Sometimes plants tu mungkin a species that difficult to root, species yang susah nak keluar roots. So you don't ideally you cannot, it's not advisable to take the hardwoods compared to the softwood. Alright, dia ada lah kriteria dia. Right? Kenapa kita pilih hardwood ataupun semi-hardwood ataupun softwood? Nanti I will explain it details later. And then for herbaceous, normally ada yang stem, ada juga yang pakai leaf cuttings ataupun leaf bud cuttings ataupun root cuttings. It's not necessarily be the stem only. Right? Boleh jadi leaf, boleh jadi cuttings. Kalau leaf ni, kalau budak-budak zaman saya kecil dulu, kita orang sangat macam sangat macam teruja, excited. Kita tanam, cari pokok daun setawa, letak tengah-tengah buku. So dalam seminggu 2 minggu tu dia keluar root on the edge of the leaves. So keluar root tu macam, oh macam happy lah. Okay. Itu sekolah rendah. It was like 25 years back. Alright, and then adventitious bud and shoot. Adventitious bud and shoot adalah buds ataupun shoot yang arise from any plant's part other than terminal or lateral or lantern buds on stem, right? Kalau stems, okay, after this, I'm not going to show you everything. If you want to see what the terminals, lateral or lantern buds, you just can Google it and image. Look at the image, which is terminal buds ataupun terminal shoot, lateral or lantern buds on stems. Okay, for your more understandings. And sometimes you need to imagine what is terminal, what is lateral, what is lantern buds. Are they different? Of course, they are different. So you can do your own googling, right? Basically, they are all from stems. Okay, any adventitious bud, any shoot yang coming out from other than terminal, lateral, lantern buds on stems, right? Adventitious bud is embryonic shoot. So biasanya the shoot ni daripada from the adventitious bud is from embryonic. So asal daripada embryonic, daripada from seed tu kan ada female and male kan, dia daripada situ lah, right? Just a terms, adventitious bud ni adalah a terms for dia adalah embryonic shoot. Okay, shoot yang bukan datang keluar daripada stem. Alright. Formally, on the portion of plants are not on the stem tips or the leaf axil. Okay, benda yang sama lah. It's not coming from the a leaf ataupun from the stems. Hardwood ada, softwood ada, and a semi-hardwood pun ada. Right? So looking at the diagram, the picture, okay, normally softwood ni is closer to the younger shoot. Semi-hardwood will be in the between from hardwood to softwood. Right? The hardwood ni biasanya main stem. Right? The main stems, and then dia keluar satu branch lagi. Right? Kita panggil semi-hardwood, and tapi on the same branch tu, kalau dia closer to the young shoot tu, kita panggil softwood, lembik lah, yang agak-agak boleh di elastik. Right? Kalau hardwood is normally tak elastik lah. Cuttings are softwood is less than 1 year old. Hardwood more than 2 years old, 1 to 2 years old branch. Cuttings are considered hardwoods when leaf remove, not tear the bark. So kalau you go look at the branch, you remove the leaf, dia tak tear the bark. Kalau daun, kalau stem tu masih muda, biasanya you will try to remove the leaf tu, dia macam masih terkoyak dengan stem lagi. Tu semi hardwood, tu still softwood. Okay. Kalau pokok bunga kan biasanya, you will try patahkan, nak ambil daun saja, tapi you patahkan dia dengan dia macam tersiat kulit sekali tu. That's still softwood lah. Softwood root easier and faster, just mostly used for difficult to root species. Kalau species tu, okay, plants that you are growing ataupun you propagate, make sure you have to it's good advisable to research first, is that the plants that the species that you are going to propagate, are they easy to root ataupun tak. Of course dah ada orang buat research tu sebelum ni, right? And then you baca, and then kalau you kata okay, difficult to root, so it's advisable to use the softwood. Right, this difference compared to if you do things without knowledge, you do not know which one you want to take. Probably you take the hardwoods. You just ambil the hardwood part and you try to propagate and expecting the cuttings to produce faster root, which is normally not for that species. Right, it will take time and wasting your time. Right, softwood for the species that hard to root, right? Maknanya susah nak keluar akar, softwood is better, right? Softwood more delicate and difficult to maintain, moist, cool, and little shaggy and foggy, right? Softwood ni delicate, dia masih muda, right? Dia senang patah, right? Agak difficult to maintain lah. Dia prone to penyakit pun ada juga. When you do the cuttings, of course ada wound, right? Wound ni dia mungkin menyebabkan attractive to pathogen. For both hardwood and softwood, advise to collect cuttings in the mornings, keep cool and moist, but not soaking at all times. Normally leave a few leaves attached for softwood. Right? Okay, hardwoods difficult to root, a bit more difficult to root hardwoods, tapi they contain more carbohydrate. Now, carbohydrate is very important for growth, right? To produce new roots, of course, it needs carbohydrate. So hardwood ada storage yang better than semi-hardwood ataupun softwood in terms of the carbohydrate level in the stems. So, kalau hardwood ni boleh ambil tanpa daun lah, right? Ataupun nak leave satu, tinggalkan satu daun pun tak ada masalah lah, right? Dia cukup carbohydrate to initiate a new rootings. Okay. But for softwood, right, dia tak, in the stems, dia tak banyak sangat storage of carbohydrate. So it's better to leave a few leaves so that the photosynthesis can be, the photosynthesis can keep running, right? photosynthesis dapat apa? Berlaku and then produce carbohydrate, and then that carbohydrate will be used to the for the rooting lah. Okay, softwood root easier and faster than mostly it's for difficult to root species. Okay, this just apa? Repetitive to the previous slide. Delicate and difficult to maintain, moist, cooler, and little shady and foggy enhance effectiveness of IBA, which is auxin hormone. Right? IBA is an auxin hormones. Okay. Softwood ni very sensitive to IBA. All right, can increase the effectiveness of absorption into the softwood. One of this, okay, this one is propagation by leaves, if I'm not mistaken. Right. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Softwood on the upper right of your screen. So ada dua leaves diambil by the softwood. Okay. So new buds will be emerging from, will come out from between the stem and the leaves, the lateral buds, I think. Is that the lateral? Yeah, this is lateral. Di antara stem dengan petiole of the leaves. Kalau ada species yang you just letak macam daun setawa lah, daun setawa. Not sure whether this is daun setawa, tapi macam daun setawa. So the rootings dia akan keluar at the edge of the leaves. So ni daun, orang Melayu panggil daun lidah jeans, right? You cut them like that, and then they can on these roots. Ni pun dipanggil soft lah juga, tapi it just not from the stem. Okay, from the root, from the leaf. Okay, for the herbaceous cuttings, for non-woody species like stevia, hampa bumi, for example, carnation and chrysanthemums, right? It's better with leaf retained at the upper ends. All right, which part better rootings depend on the species. All right. So tapi biasanya herbaceous macam ni yang tak ada non-woody ni, setakat my experience senang je lah. You just ambil the bahagian softwood tu, bahagian atas you just letak, dia akan means just propagate on into the soils, right? Dia akan grow macam biasa lah. Suckers in pineapple considered herbaceous cuttings. Okay, suckers in pineapple ni, suckers ni yang keluar ke bawah, bukan yang crown. Yang atas pineapple tu kita panggil crowns. Sucker tu kita boleh nampak dari bawah, right? Ni batang pineapples, buah pineapples, and then batang dia boleh keluar suckers kat tepi-tepi bawah tu. Right? Again, you can Google pineapple suckers. It's better. Sometimes it's better to have, to memorize knowledge in the form of image than the words. So depends on the person sebenarnya. Based on my experience, when I ask my students, okay, you can choose whether you want to do your assignments, whether it be in conservative, which is writings, ataupun diagrams, ataupun picture, right? Because I know that different people, they know, like macam korang lah, you know better yourself whether you memorize better knowledge in the form of image ataupun wording. Right? Ada yang suka wording, ada yang suka image. Alright, so management of the stock plants. Stock plants ni normally parents lah, right? You take the cuttings from the stock plants. Rooting ability of cuttings decline with age of stock plants. Very best to take cuttings from juvenile woods. So sebenarnya kalau lagi lama stock plant tu, lama-lama dia akan uh, I mean rooting ability tu punya capability of producing cuttings that can root very easily, dia akan lama-lama akan berkurang lah. Okay. So that normally propagators ni dia akan do the prunings. Dia akan pruning. Tak bermakna dia cabut sampai ke akar-akar sekali, tak lah. Tapi dia akan do the cuttings, mungkin sampai hardwood, batang-batang besar. So that dia akan keluar shoot yang baru, right? Shoot yang baru, wait the new shoot tu jadi hardwood ataupun semi hardwood, and then you can take the cutting from there. Right? Keluar hardwoods and then semi hardwoods and then softwood, then you can take cuttings. Okay. So kena for the stock plants ni kena always pruning lah. Rejuvenation of stock plants. Okay. Induce a root to shoots, right? Remove all buds and apply hormones. Spray the whole mature stock plants to reverse heavy prunings, grafting mature to juveniles and stock plants from tissue culture. So you can do rejuvenation of stock plants, okay, by inducing the root to shoots. Okay, kalau you nak produce pokok pokok stock plant yang tersedia ada, ataupun you nak produce a new stock plants, okay, it's better to induce root to shoot, okay, because awal-awal tu root is better than root is better than the shoot, right? Roots must be in a way that they're healthy, then okay for mineral and water absorption, so that pokok lagi okay lah, right? Remove all buds and apply hormones. Okay, you can buang semua buds and can apply hormones. Okay, spray the whole mature stock plants to reverse breeding. Heavy prunings. Okay, you can do heavy prunings ataupun grafting mature to juvenile. So you buang you buang the mature, alright, tinggalkan juvenile, ataupun you buang yang mature ni, tunggu dia grow sampai juvenile, ataupun like I said tadi, tunggu dia jadi semi hardwood ke ataupun softwood. And also stock plants from tissue culture also can. Manipulate environments, alright, possible in greenhouse grown stock plants. Manipulate environments ni you can do only if you are growing your stock plants in the glass house. Outside, it's very difficult because it's easily affected by the environments, right? Can stress the plants. Okay, you stress the plants ni to induce flowering ke, induce a new rooting system ataupun new leaves. You can stress the plants. By using the higher temperature, okay, ataupun you can adjust through lights intensity, ataupun you adjust photo periods, how many hours the stock should receive the lights, how many hours need to be dark adapted, right? Shaded enhanced rootings. Sebab tu kalau you tanam pokok anak pokok kecil, shading is okay to enhance rootings. Okay, girdling before making cuttings. Okay, shade enhanced rooting ni because you know auxin pada buds, okay, dia akan menjauhi matahari, right? So kalau dia akan menjauhi matahari, tapi dia I can't remember exactly the mechanism of auxin, to be honest, tapi somehow contoh the bud dia macam ni. So kalau matahari ikut belakang ni, so dia akan bend over this side. So auxin akan berkumpul di sebelah sini, right? So it is, tapi kalau shade ada research menunjukkan auxin tu akan will be translocated into the roots for enhanced rooting. Okay. And then you can also do carbohydrate as carbon dioxide enrichment, so that the apa, um, you apply the substrate for the carbohydrate, right? You supply the carbon dioxide through the photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide will be fixed through the photosynthesis, and then more carbohydrate will be produced, and then more carbohydrate will be used for the plant and growth, right? It's one of the way to manage your stock plants. Heavy pruning of stock plants. Okay, stock plants normally prune as hedges rather than to let grow to big tree. That's always produce juvenile thinner stem cuttings. So you can always do the heavy prunings, right? So they akan produce juveniles, right? The juveniles ni depends on the species, sangat okay lah, very suitable for propagating plants. Thinner stem shoots root faster under good drainage and not too misty. And the poor environments go for thicker stem shoot, although rooting slowly but can stand less favorable environments. Because like I said, kalau environment is not okay, alright, environment is not okay, for example, terlalu banyak air kawasan, terlalu mist kawasan tu, terlalu humid, alright, mungkin soft wood is not very suitable, right? It can root faster, tapi dia a bit more vulnerable compared to soft wood. Sorry, compared to hardwood. Tapi hardwood ni memang dia dah macam orang kata memang dah power lah, pergi gym hari-hari, alright? Dia memang resistant to the adverse condition ataupun unfavorable condition. Walaupun rooting lambat, tapi the 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 chance to survive still high lah. Okay. Thinner stem shoots, higher leaf to stem ratio, greater foot to cutting pace is propagated as softwood cuttings. Okay, thinner stem shoot biasanya propagated as softwood cuttings. Okay, maknanya lagi banyak leaf compared to stem. Maksud dia probably in terms of the weight of the leaf, dry weight lah. Okay, dry weight of the leaves is higher than the stems. For the thinner stem shoot lah, untuk yang halus ataupun daun muda ataupun softwood. Okay, that's why it's known as softwood cuttings. Okay, ni macam repetitive to words before lah. Which is softwood ni biasanya akan root faster, tapi dia a bit more vulnerable. Selection of cuttings from the stock plants. Okay. You see the picture, ada terminal buds, ada nodes, ada lateral buds. Terminal bud ni terminal lah, yang atas sekali, yang paling tinggi. Right, lateral buds adalah between the stem and the petiole of the leaves. Okay. Lateral versus terminal shoot. Right, terminal atas sekali and then lateral between the stem and the petiole. In general, for tropical trees, no obvious effects in rooting ability, but rather the size. Okay. It's just a matter of the size lah. Okay. Kalau rooting tak ada beza, you ambil terminal buds ataupun you start growing for the lateral buds. But if softwood, it is advisable to take from the terminal. Right, from the softwood, advisable to take from the terminal. Sebab tu softwood, tadi gambar yang awal-awal tadi, dia ada section. Softwood ada close to the terminal, and then semi-hardwood is the middle between the softwoods and the hardwoods is normally the main stem. Kalau hardwood ataupun semi-hardwood from lateral, right, but from plants, but plants from lateral can sometimes experience horizontal growth characters, of course, because it's coming out from the lateral stems. See the stems, right? stem, and then the petioles coming out, the lateral buds, right? So the lateral buds ni dia akan tumbuh makin horizontal. Okay. Sebab apa? Sebab mungkin the shaded by the upper leaf, so that is because the lateral bud ni bila dia growing up, they still need for light for the photosynthesis. Okay. A bit more detailed explanation, right, of the softwood and then semi hardwood ataupun hardwood. Right. Sebab tu saya cakap macam hardwood dengan semi hardwood, you tengok tadi macam hardwood tadi kan, dia tak ada gambar hardwood. Okay, hardwood tu macam main stem lah. Main stem tu biasanya jauh daripada terminal buds. So ideally orang tak propagate cuttings, contoh kan pada hardwood kepada semi hardwood kepada softwood panjang ni kan. You never see people do the propagation sepanjang-panjang dahan. Alright. Sebab tu kalau for hardwood, it's better to produce the new buds from the lateral. Kalau softwood, from the terminal. Alright. For difficult to root species, hardwood cuttings have better rooting if taken from the base of the shoot, because higher preform roots compared to the terminal ends. Okay, kalau difficult to root species, hardwood cuttings boleh, alright. Tapi dia depends kalau pada pokok. Mungkin daripada hardwood kepada semi hardwood kepada softwood mungkin tak panjang. Ada species yang hardwood dengan semi hardwood dengan softwood branch dia panjang and not suitable if you take that, alright, untuk propagate. Right. Tapi ada yang hardwood, jarak hardwood dengan softwood mungkin tak jauh, right? Yang you can still use the hardwood cutting have better rooting if taken. Okay, hardwood cuttings have better rootings bila compare dengan hardwoods yang normal hardwoods yang jauh sikit daripada terminal, right? Sebab memang kriteria hardwood tu memang payah sikit nak rooting. Tapi if you still want to take the hardwoods, right, you want to have a better rootings than the common hardwoods, it's better to take it from the base of the shoot, right? Base of the shoot tu tak jauh daripada shoot lah, right? So higher preform roots compared to the terminal end. Okay, maknanya dalam bahasa Melayu yang ringkas dia bawa sekali lah influence a good and better rootings of the softwood. Kriteria dia tu ada pada shoot, base of the shoot, right? Maknanya bahagian pucuk tu kita anggap dia bahagian pucuk tu pada base pucuk tu lah. Pada ada terminal, ada yang shoot and then ke bawah base kepada shoot. So maknanya pada kawasan yang bila you patahkan tu, dia mungkin tertarik sikit saja kot. Kan ingat tak saya cakap one of the criteria of the softwood adalah bila you try remove the leaves, dia masih macam tersiat, right? Lagi muda lagi tersiat lah, right? Daripada bila shoot base tu mungkin bila you try to remove the leaf, dia akan koyak tapi tak terlalu strong. And then kat situ for the hardwood ataupun semi hardwood tu, okay, sesuai jugalah untuk apa, for the better rootings. Okay. Tapi kena fikir, bukan kena fikir, I mean it always ada pro and cons. Ada kalau dalam kemahiran hidup bersepadu waktu secondary school tu, right, kita ada course melepas, right, dia hardwood tapi compare to the conventional hardwoods, dia ada more carbohydrate, right? More resistant to environment, right? So younger shoot pula softwood ni vulnerable. Tapi yang hardwood from the from the base of the shoot ataupun semi hardwood from the base of the shoot ni, of course dia duduk tengah-tengah lah antara conventional hardwood dengan softwood. So dia tengah-tengah. Soft versus hardwood. Hardwood is difficult to root. Alright, soft is better because soft has higher oxygens, need light but not too much light, but critical water management. Okay, water management is more critical than the lights for the softwood. Dormant hardwood has less oxygen, has a lot of carbohydrate, and need not light and water not critical, because semi hardwood ni tak perlukan sangat light because of what? Because of it has probably sufficient carbohydrate for rootings, right? Like I said in the early of the lecture tadi, it has higher carbon storage, so the carbon storage can be used for rootings, right? Flowering versus vegetative. In general, cuttings from non-flowering plants atau parts of plants root better. Okay. In general, cutting from non-flowering plants ataupun parts of plants root better. So, ni simple je lah. Okay, pokok yang flowering ni mungkin okay, kalau herbaceous, cutting is okay walaupun dia flowering. Okay, tapi kalau I think here flowering yang refer to mungkin pokok yang berbuah kot, right? Apa ni through cuttings not, mungkin tak okay, right? Mungkin ada better methods, right, for the flowering, fruit flowering for example. Biasanya cantuman mata tunas, right? It's not just cut the dahan, the stems, and then you just pacak, dia akan keluar dengan cepat, okay? Ataupun root better, no. Okay. Kalau herbaceous, yes, right? And then kalau pokok tu ada flowering and vegetative, vegetative is better because vegetative tu sebab you nak propagate a new pokok, maknanya you are developing a new shoot from stem. So of course you need cells yang masih membawa momentum of vegetative. Means during vegetative kan ada cell division, cell elongation, self differentiation, alright. The momentums of that still happening in the vegetative. Not, biasanya flowering ni pokok bila dah stop dah untuk vegetative, means that dia normally slowing down ataupun stop untuk cell division ataupun elongation ataupun differentiation because of what? Because of the carbohydrate they are producing will be channeled into for reproductive purpose, which is flowering and then developing the fruits. Okay, so vegetative is better than when the stock plants has achieved at the flowering stage ataupun reproductive stage. In Malaysia, cutting taken after regrowth of new leaves, for example, after dry season, has better rootings. Example in the case of rubber. Rubber ni ada musim luruh dia, and then keluar baru, and then better to do the cuttings. Okay. Siapa yang pernah tengok pokok rubber, biasanya sepanjang highway LPT2 tu ada banyak pokok rubber. I mean on the way to Temelloh kot. So banyak pokok rubber. Kalau waktu end of year, and I think around September to October like that, you akan nampak the color changes of the rubbers, and then dia slowly akan ada leaf senescence, and then keluar balik daun baru. So kalau for the rubber, for example, regrowth of the new leaves, then you ambil. Sebab waktu pokok tu dia tengah leaf senescence, okay, gugur daun, dia tak ada momentum for the cell developments, right? After bila dah gugur and then dia produce a new leaf, waktu tu vegetative akan keluar balik and then sangat active, and then waktu tu the momentum is there, so boleh ambil as a cuttings, right? Because of momentum of vegetative mechanism is still ongoing. And then when you do cuttings, woundings happens. Okay, wounding encourage heavy rootings because wounding increase respiration. Okay, wounding increase respiration, right? Thus akan produce more oxygens, ethylenes, and carbohydrate, right? You know, the respiration is not simply respiration ni, I think saya dah explain dalam physio last semester. Kita bernafas bukan kita nak bernafas, bukan kita nak udara. No, the main objective of the respiration is to produce ATP or energy. Okay, kita do respiration is not because of we need oxygen to respiration. Alright, we need to breath, right, adalah to supply our cell, our mitochondria with oxygen so that the mitochondria can produce 36 ATPs, alright? Kita need oxygen for aerobic respiration. Compared to anaerobics, right, dia akan menghasilkan only 2 ATPs, alright? So, wounding, dia akan increase metabolic activities. Biasanya wounding ni, bila kita cedera, get injured, right, luka. Of course, untuk naturally our body akan start defense mechanism, right? Defense mechanism. Kalau lah ada penyakit ke, ada apa ke kan, right? So they need to protect our skin, our bleeding parts tu sebelum infection, right? So mungkin darah akan membeku, right? Kulit akan mencantum dengan cepat, right? They are all metabolic activities. Ada enzim yang akan ada enzim yang terlibat untuk pembekuan darah, right? Ada enzim yang terlibat dalam pembentukan sel-sel baru, right? So all these things need to be fast, right? To avoid infection. So bila everything must be fast, dia kan ada minyak lah, macam you bawa kereta, you nak speeding, you need a lot of petrol, right? So then you can increase, you accelerate, you press the pedal minyak tu, then you speed, right? So sama dalam during the wounding, the system need to be fast, alright, to start defensive mechanism. The fuel of the metabolic activities is ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Right? That's why bila berlaku, okay, again, it's a physiology. Right? Right? Bila you do respiration, right, expiration kena increase, alright, respiration kena increase, so dia akan produce more ATP. So more ATP need to be used to fuel up, alright, the metabolic activities for the defense, to produce oxygens, to produce ethylenes, alright, to produce carbohydrate, right? So dalam normal condition, mungkin respiration adalah dalam keadaan yang stabil lah, right? Dan bila berlakunya wounding yang memerlukan ataupun environmental stress, it needs the metabolic activities in the plants ataupun in the stems, even in our body, right? Metabolic activities must be increased. Kita kena produce enzim ni. Yang enzim ni dalam keadaan biasa tak diperlukan, alright? So bila berlakunya wounding, we need this enzyme. We need to produce this enzyme. We need to produce the auxin. We need to produce this hormone. So in order to produce this, it needs energy, right? So how the molecule get the energy from the ATP? So how does the ATP are coming from the respiration process? So that's why the wounding encourage heavy breathing because of wound increase respiration. So after this, when you read, you just tak, jangan fikir satu lapis lah. Means, okay, kalau wounding berlaku respiration. So bila orang tanya kenapa wounding, respiration tinggi bila wounding, so you cannot explain, right? So after this, when you read, you read the lecture atau you read the books ataupun you read what happening pada badan manusia, alright? Sama waktu macam kita demam, alright? Macam kita demam, alright? Temperature will increase. Temperature will increase. Bila you check degupan jantung, alright, ataupun nadi, you punya nadi of course akan tinggi daripada biasa, alright? Because of what? Because you punya respiration process, because your metabolic activities is working hard to fight against the infection, against the microbe, against the kuman, right? So it needs to, jantung berdegup laju, right? So nadi pun berdegup laju, right? So your body needs to do respiration faster, right? To produce ATP, to fill up all the metabolic activities in your body, right? In our body, right? To fight against the virus, right? So there is always mechanism behind that. So bila you baca ni, you akan hope you faham lah why respiration is tinggi, right? Kenapa respiration tinggi? Kenapa kenapa carbohydrate, right? Respiration menggunakan carbohydrate, tapi respiration is also boleh induce the enzyme during the photosynthesis also produce the carbohydrate, right? Tapi kalau batang stem yang tak ada daun, right? Yang photosynthesis macam hardwoods, dia akan guna maknanya respiration tinggi, dia akan gunakanlah carbohydrate yang tersedia ada. So the level of carbohydrate tu logically dia akan berkurang lah, right? So for that case, respiration tinggi for the hardwood tak bermakna carbohydrate akan tinggi. No, carbohydrate akan digunakan unless photosynthesis happens. So they akan replenish back the carbohydrate through the photosynthesis process. Wounding also increase receptivity absorption of the hormones and chemical applied. So sebab tu bila you nak for the propagation nak propagate through cuttings, ada teknik dia celup dalam hormone auxins, right? Absorption dia, receptivity dia terhadap hormon akan tinggi, so dia akan better for rooting. And the storage for of cuttings, right? Take cuttings in the mornings. Any readings, sebenarnya kalau you do research, any reading biasanya better for during the morning. Tapi for class, normally labs waktu petang, so kita kena buatlah waktu petang for the sake of learning process for the just for the study lah. Dia akan tumbuh, tapi it's advisable to take any parameters in the mornings, right? Tak panas sangat, right? And then pokok ni bila you potong, dia masih terbau-bau sebab the photosynthesis process biasanya sangat active in the morning. So bila you do the cuttings, they still membawa momentum of photosynthesis process. That would be good. If not planted directly, okay, boleh keep in the dalam fridge suhu 2 hingga 4 Celsius and you can plant the next day. Why 2 to 4 degree? Because you wound the stem, alright? You probably, kalau stem tu letak kat luar, mungkin ada chances possibility of infection. It has to be kept if it has to be keep longer, keep at 15 to 20 degree. For example, cuttings of chrysanthemums and carnation can be shipped all the way from Holland to Cameroon Islands. Rule of thumb for the most tropical crops in storage room, not too cold, that will cause frozen. Relative humidities 100%, low oxygens and ethylene, high carbon dioxide. Alright. Sebab you nak simpan lama, you nak simpan lama, bukan you nak propagate. So you kena lowkan oxygen level, alright, dan ethylene, alright. Ethylene ni kita tak boleh nak literally directly you nak kurangkan ethylene macam nak kurangkan ethylene per se, tapi bila keep dalam storage rooms, okay, ethylene biasanya mungkin the production of bila you cut, alright, bila you cut the cuttings, dia akan produce stress hormone. Ethylene is a stress hormone, right? So you boleh lowkan production of ethylene in the cuttings, right? Low oxygen ni you untuk kurangkan respiration because you want to keep them longer, right? Lain lah kalau you nak letak kat luar nak terus tanam, so you need oxygen, so then cutting the metabolic activities in the cuttings can be increased through respiration and then boleh start produce the roots. Auxin application. Auxin induced rooting in the most crops. Conduct try to know patient. Okay. Kalau too high concentration, quick tips. Alright. Kalau lower concentration, boleh spray ataupun soak application. Tapi it's always kena ada try and error lah. Auxin applied to high for stem or root cuttings may inhibit bud growth, leading to a scenario of many roots but no shoot or no bud breaks. Ada banyak shoot tapi tak ada buds. Tak okay juga. IBA has been reported to move upwards and induce ethylene production that inhibits buds and shoot growth. This is what happens if you put too much auxin ataupun IBA. Normally in many instances, auxin move downwards for rooting. Right? Dia lain kalau cuttings, dia better go downward sebab for rooting. Tapi kalau pokok yang betul-betul pokok dah hidup, memang ada pucuk, biasanya auxin ada kat atas pada meristematic cells kat young shoot lah. Tapi kalau cuttings dia boleh go downwards, right? Sebab apa? Untuk root. Auxin accelerate end movement to rooting areas in persimmons and is important in root initiation and development. Be mobilized by auxin in chrysanthemums, zinc promote auxin formation. Right. High manganese may inhibit root because manganese normally will lower endogenous auxin's production and translocation. Right. Ini simple lah. Ada yang you belajar dalam plant nutrient. Right. Environmental requirements for cuttings. Maintain humid environments with, for instance, intermittent misting as in our GNC. For example, our GNC memang panas. Kalau waktu saya panas, it can go up to 40 degrees Celsius, right? 40 degrees Celsius, which is not very favorable for the cuttings, new wounded cuttings, right? So because of our GNC is a very basic GNC, what we have adalah misting, so we do a frequent misting lah untuk reduce the temperature. For most of our crops, 25 to 32 in our glass house. Kalau misting ada, it can go to 25 to 32. Kalau tak, I can sure that it can go up more than that, far higher than that. Can be up to, I think, 40, 42 degree. Light a little shady preferred by woody cuttings. Photosynthesis not critical for root initiation, but rather for root elongation. Adventitious roots arise from any plants. Okay, ni dah kita dah discuss tadi. Coming from the roots. Okay. Stem anatomy, right? Dalam mature ataupun juvenile. Okay. Juvenile will, if we look at the cross section ataupun the stem anatomy, you kalau tengok kat periderma tu kat atas tu adalah tisu luar lah, right? Tisu luar. So kalau dalam juvenile dia punya periderma tu dia tak well developed lagi, alright? Kalau phloem tu pun tak masih the fibers tu masih still develops. Okay, tengok the fibers tu color blue tu, alright? On the juvenile tu dia tak complete as what you can see in the mature. De novo adventitious root formations, the differentiation of all remeristemation of parenchyma cells, initiation of slightly organized cells group, root primordial differentiation, elongation. Okay, okay, this is something that just apa yang berlaku pada sel parenchyma lah in adventitious root. Okay. Meristemation of site organized. Okay, this is telling you a bit more details. Root primordial developments. Okay, kat root adventitious lah. Okay, root adventitious pada sini bukan daripada pokok yang dah ada asal pokok, you tanam from seedling, pokok tu membesar and then ada adventitious root. Not that adventitious root that I'm talking. I'm talking adventitious root from cuttings, for example, ataupun root from the leaves here. Right. And then, all right. So, Abis, we have finished our lecture for the week 5. Okay, you are going to have a quiz. Later, just before the labs. Okay, kalau pukul, nanti saya akan beritahu, kalau hujan, you may not have to come to GNC, tapi kalau tak hujan, I think we together, ni lah lab session will be held in the GNC. Okay? Faham? Any response? Quiz kat sana. Bawa lah buku sikit nak alas kat tangan ni. Sebab saya akan bagi mungkin kertas A4 lah. Then you just answer dalam tu lah. So you bawa pen ni kot. Pen dan buku lah untuk you alas. Right? And then baru kita buat lab. So sebab puasa, saya tak nak balik dengan waktu jam. So kita start dalam pukul 2 lah. Boleh? Alright. Kalau tak hujan lah. Kalau hujan, kita buat dalam lab lah. Mungkin dalam lab. Tapi kalau ada bas ke sampai ke JNC? Sebab kita nak try, nak tunjuk yang mana yang shoot dengan semi hardwood dengan hardwood. So you are going to propagate atas dalam tray. Alright. Kita akan try 3 different cuttings lah, and then we'll see how it goes. Okay. So kalau tak ada soalan lagi, kita jumpa petang lah. Boleh?
Boleh doktor.
Okay, doktor.
Alright. Jangan pakai selipar walaupun pergi ke JNC Alright. Lab coat tak perlu kot kalau kat JNC. Right, don't have to bring a lab coat.
Pukul berapa doktor?
Pukul 2 Datuk Harimau. Sebab saya tak nak balik dengan menghadap jam dekat bypass tu. So kita habis awal dan kita balik awal. Sebab puasa kan tak ada yang nak makan. Kalau ada yang kena time tu makan awal sikit lah. Tapi kita start dalam pukul 2 lah insyaAllah. Alright?
Alright,
Okay,
doktor.
Alright.
Okay doktor.
Right, good. So see you at 2 p.m. at GNC. And until then, we close our meeting with Tasbih Farah. Now, Surah Al-As. Subhan. Alright, see you later. Bye.
Thank you doktor.
Thank you, doktor.
Right.
Thank you doktor.
Um,